Welcome in, everyone. The Time Skew podcast is back. The Time Skew Fantasy Football brand is back. Fantasy football is just around the corner. Super excited for it. The NFL draft kicks off tomorrow on Thursday the 29th. We are here on Thursday the 28th, and we've decided to do something a little special for you guys. We are going to be doing a first-round mock draft. We're not going to be one of those sites that has, mock draft 7.69 or 100.02. Nah, we're giving you one solid mock draft. We've got some of our top experts with us here today, and we are going to be discussing this mock draft, a full rounder for the first round. I'm super excited for it. Let's go ahead. Let's bring in everyone that we've got joining me today, and we'll just kind of start the stream off just kind of by introducing everyone. So let's bring in our first person. Let's bring in Brian. Brian, how are we doing today, man? I'm
great. I can't wait for this. It's exciting.
Yeah, very excited. What teams are you going to be mock drafting for?
Oh, man. It's a random set, but I think I'm going to go with the 49ers first at 3, Vikings at 14, Cardinals at 16. Let's see who else. My Ravens at 27 and 31, Packers at 29, and Bucks at 32.
Oh, yeah. I'm glad you got that 31st draft slot right there, my man. What are your initial reactions to that trade between the Chiefs and the Ravens?
I think I trust in Eric DeCosta to make the right trade. I think it helps both teams, which is probably what a trade should be, right? It's a trade that actually helps both teams. We all want like the steal, right? But I think the Chiefs get that left tackle that they desperately need. Hopefully they can lock him up after this season. And for the Ravens, they covet draft capital every year. That's their MO, and they do a really good job with drafting. So it's just another bullet in the gun for Eric DeCosta and that group.
And correct me if I'm wrong, he already wanted to be traded because the Ravens were going to play him at a position that Brown didn't want to play in, correct?
Yeah. He wants to play left tackle. He would have played right tackle with Ronnie Stanley coming back. Ronnie Stanley already locked up long term. So, it was good for Orlando Brown. He gets to play up for a contender. Left tackle. He gets to back up the best quarterback in the league. Patrick Mahomes. So it's a win-win-win for everyone.
Yeah, for sure. I thought the same thing. I don't think either team really got fleeced, and I think this is one of those trades that both teams come out the other side pretty happy with. Brian, where can people follow you at on Twitter?
At Brian, at TimesSkew. Follow me. Been a little dormant lately, but I'm about to pick this up. It's draft season. It's fantasy season. Getting hyped, getting ready to go.
Yeah, for sure, man. Well, Brian, we appreciate you being on. Let's go ahead. Let's bring in our next analyst. I'm going to mess this up. I've already messed it up once. It's the
It's Force, man. It's Force. You got it.
Force. It's not Ace. It's not Face. It's Force. The Force is with us. How are we doing today, man?
Don't worry, man. All my friends call me the F Face, so based on that. So it's all good. Doing great, man. Excited to be doing this. It's something I've had my eye on, and glad we're here together.
Yeah, for sure. What teams are you going to be covering today?
I've got the 107 with Detroit to start it out, 110 with Dallas, sorry, 111 with the New York Giants, the 112 with Philadelphia, the 119 with Washington, right after the 120 with Chicago, and then my last pick will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Oops, I apologize. I did pass that off, so that's no longer. So, yeah, I'm ending with Chicago at number 20.
Perfect. And what jerseys that you got on?
That's Elliott, man. Go Cowboys.
Oh yeah. So
got my spirit animals behind me, so we're all set here.
Oh yeah. I got to ask, with the Cowboys jersey on, are you someone who's high on Elliott going into 2021? I feel like there's a split camp right now where it's you either view Elliott as still one of the top 4 backs in the league, or you view Elliott as somebody who just stay away, the end is near.
I'm not going to say top 4. I'm not going to say stay away, the end is near. I think he settles in the next couple of seasons in a, bottom half of the top 10 sort of role. The offense is good. They're going to improve the offensive line. They've already made some steps to do that. Dak's back. Tons of weapons. He's going to have opportunities to score touchdowns. I don't think he's ever going to be the guy we saw in the first couple of years where he's the best back in the NFL. Again, age is going to dictate that more and more, but I still think he can be a really effective fantasy asset and worth the high draft capital. But no, would I say a top 4, top 5 back going forward? No, probably not.
For sure. And where can the people follow you at on Twitter?
At the FF_4CE. May the force be with you.
Perfect, man. Thank you for being with us. Let's bring in our next guy. Y'all know this guy very well. He's back. The coach, Jack. How are we doing today, man?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. I'm excited to get this going. Been a bit quiet for a little while, but I'm glad to get us all back together and talk football, man. Ready?
For sure, man. I don't have very many friends from across the pond, but I would say you're one of my dearest friends from across the pond. Has the weather been okay over there?
The weather's been great, man. I'm guessing I'm 1 of 1, so I'm okay with that.
That's good. That's good. Who do you got drafting, or I guess who are you picking for today?
I'm getting some interesting ones. I'm going to show you things up at the beginning with the Jets, the Bengals, and the Panthers, and then I've got the Steelers and the Browns down at the bottom end. So, yeah. Well, I'm still alive, and I'm guessing Q's dropped off, or I'm live. I don't know.
We're good.
I could just keep talking. Yeah, Q, you're back. I can just keep. Okay. I was vamping. I'm vamping.
Yeah. No, you're good, man. My webcam appears to go in and out right now. That's okay. Where can the people follow you out on Twitter?
That's a good question. I recently changed it. It's Coach Mullins FF.
Perfect. Well, Jack, super excited to have you with us. Let's go ahead and let's bring on our next, the Fridge, my man. How are we doing today?
Good, Q. How are you?
Good. Glad to have you with us. Who are you going to be mocking for today?
I got the Falcons at 104. I got the Broncos at 109. The Chargers at 113. The Raiders at 117. And the Bills at 130.
Perfect. And I see that little nice Patrick Mahomes jersey back there. Who are the other two you got back there?
I got William the Fridge Perry and Calvin Ridley.
Oh, yeah. Okay. What's your favorite team?
By default, the Bills. I've kind of just been a fantasy guy my entire life, cheering for players over teams. But by default, I've been to several Bills games. So just by living outside of Toronto they're the local team. So I was hoping they'd go a little further than they did last year.
I'm glad they didn't. I'm very glad they did it. Who knows, man? They've got a really good team going for them. And if they draft maybe Najee Harris, maybe a different running back, they can get some sort of fantasy viable running back in there. That could be a very scary offense.
Yeah, no, I'm hoping for the versatile Etienne, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. Where can the people follow you at on Twitter?
At the Refrigerator. Or at the Fantasy Fridge, sorry.
Fantastic, my man. We will talk to you here in a little bit. Maybe Kyle Pitts ends up on the Atlanta Falcons. I'm very excited to hear that. Let's bring in our final mock drafter. Steven, how are we doing today, man?
Doing fantastic. How you doing?
Very good. Excited to have you on. You're going to be leading us off today, but who else are you going to be drafting or mocking for?
So I got, like you said, Jaguars at 1. I got the Dolphins at 6 and at 18, actually. Looks like I'm drafting the whole AFC South that actually have first-round picks. So I got the Colts at 21, Titans at 22, Jaguars at 25, and then the Saints at 28.
Fantastic. We've got a comment coming in from Michael here saying that Justin Fields to the Panthers with the big eyes. We'll see if that happens. I mean, it seems ever more likely every single day that man's just going to continue to fall down the line. Wouldn't it be funny if, we reversed the track, 3-4 months ago where everyone thought Justin Fields was going number 2 to the Jets and Sam Darnold was then going to be behind the likes of Justin Fields. And now it's not even New York that's going to happen. I just think that would be very, very funny to see. But, Steven, nonetheless, let's get this draft started. Super excited to have everyone here with us. So why don't you kick us off? Who are the Jacksonville Jaguars going to be selecting at number 1?
I think it's no surprise at this point. I mean, Jacksonville is using his image in marketing. Jaguars taking Trevor Lawrence, quarterback out of Clemson.
Yeah, I think that's one that nobody did not expect to happen. He's just so solid. I think he's going to be very good for that team. He's the kind of guy that they absolutely have to get. They cannot mess this one up. But yeah, so Jacksonville Jaguars take Trevor Lawrence. I'm pretty sure everybody was expecting that. If that doesn't happen tomorrow, I'd be absolutely shocked.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, there is no other choice for that pick.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that is the first pick. We've got Trevor Lawrence to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The New York Jets are on the clock. Let me bring in who is drafting for the New York Jets. Let's bring in Jack. Jack, what are the Jets going to be doing at number 2?
Here we go. See, this is where it's interesting. You just talked about the top end QB order, and obviously Trevor Lawrence is going first. I think this whole thing is a smokescreen, and these top 3 QBs are bar Lawrence are all over the place, and I'm just 100% on that. I don't know who's going where, but the best quarterback left out of these top tier quarterbacks is Justin Fields. And that is my pick for the New York Jets at number 2.
Really? So you think the whole Zach Wilson hype train is just going to be a smokescreen?
He's a great QB, and he's dynamic. He does some great things, but he one of the comments on him has been his frame. He's very slight. Maybe he can build on that. I'm not sure. Can he take the punishment at NFL level? I don't know. Is he as accurate as he needs to be? I don't know. Justin Fields is a more complete prospect. Why he's sliding is beyond me. And if he's the best guy that the Jets could take right there.
Do you think it could be potentially Dwayne Haskins' issue in the fact that Ohio State quarterbacks typically don't put out good NFL quarterbacks?
Yeah, but I mean,
Or at
there's
least
only
in the
so many
recent-
things we can blame Dwayne Haskins for. So I think it might be completely his fault. Yeah, but I just don't see a better prospect for them. Like Zach Wilson is good and, like I said, dynamic, but Justin Fields is the better quarterback at this point.
Yeah. Justin Fields off the board at the 102. I think a lot of people would be absolutely surprised about that. Bringing on Brian here for the 49ers. Brian, I bet you're pretty surprised at what has just fallen into your lap at this point.
Yeah, I now have to think about this for a second, right? Because it seems like all indications are that Zach Wilson's going to be going to the Jets at 2, which leaves me with, they're going to pick a quarterback, right? I mean, I don't think that's the surprise, but it's who they're going to pick. A lot of people think that it might be Mac Jones, quarterback out of Alabama. He is extremely accurate. May not have the ceiling of these other quarterbacks, but I'm gonna stick with my guns here, and I'm going to go if I'm the GM. 49ers, I'm going to go with who I think has the highest ceiling, maybe outside of Trevor Lawrence. Now I'm going to go with Trey Lance.
Interesting.
I'm going to go with Trey Lance. Big arm. I think he could be the if Trevor Lawrence is the Joe Burrow can't miss quarterback of last year, right? Then I think Trey Lance might be the Justin Herbert of this class. I just think there's just too much upside there, and I think Kyle Shanahan will be able to seamlessly develop an offense to his strengths, and I just don't see a higher ceiling on any of these other quarterbacks. So I'm going to go with Trey Lance.
Yeah, I think that's a very solid pick. I think it's a pick where, Trey Lance, everyone's saying that they have to wait a year before putting Trey Lance in. Trey Lance has a ceiling of a Mahomes, Josh Allen, 2 recent quarterbacks who we've seen who might not necessarily be the initial, like, hey, this has to be the guy who goes off the board. So very interesting. We're through the first 3 picks, and Zach Wilson is still on the board. Trey Lance is gone. Let's bring on the Atlanta Falcons, and let's bring the fridge back in. Oh, my goodness. Do the Falcons go with a quarterback here? Zach Wilson has somehow fallen to the Falcons, or are we leaning a different direction?
I think they're getting calls right now by other GMs for Wilson. The Patriots might be calling, or the Bears. Someone desperate for a quarterback will definitely be calling the Falcons right now for Wilson. But I'm going to stick with my gut here and take Kyle Pitts, the tight end out of Florida. he's quite possibly the best player in this draft. And with the hype and talk of the Falcons looking at shopping Julio Jones right now, they're opening up a spot on the offense for Pitts to just take over with Ridley, and give Matt Ryan a chance to win late in his career.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, Kyle Pitts would arguably be the most dominant tight end that has come through there. I've gone on record plenty of times saying I think Austin Hooper's really not that good. What do you think fantasy football wise, real quick, let's take a quick break. If Kyle Pitts ends up on the Falcons, is he a locked and loaded top 10 tight end for redraft this year?
Oh, I think he'd be top 5.
Interesting. Top 5.
Yeah. No, especially if Julio goes, and between him and Ridley take on the target volume that Julio possesses, look at him to take off.
For sure, man. We appreciate the pick. Oh, man, wouldn't that be just so fun? Kyle Pitts on the Atlanta Falcons. Let's bring back Jack here for the Cincinnati Bengals pick at number 5. What are you doing here? I feel like you have to reunite Joe Burrow with Jamar Chase. Am I correct, or are we going a different direction?
Okay, so here's the thing. That is the flashy pick, which everybody wants to see. And then I think there was a big deal made, and there was a whole bunch of new memes spawned from the Bengals uniform reveal, where you had Joe Burrow sitting and you could see the giant scar on his knee. And it's sad. Joe Burrow is a talented guy, and could make the Bengals franchise relevant for years to come. They have guys. They have good pass catchers. They don't need to restock the cupboard at this high. And to be honest, I think some of these guys are going to slide. They're going to be able to pick up a guy in the second round that can stock up this wide receiver room and build it up. And I just don't think that's the pick for them at this point. So I think you've got to go and reinforce that line and help out Joe Burrow. It doesn't bode well for people like Burrow and Mixon, especially if they don't have reinforcements on the line. So you've got to take the big tackle out of Oregon. I'm going to butcher the name. I'm going to say Penei Sewell.
I'm pretty sure that's correct. I'm pretty sure that's right.
Then if it's wrong, then I'm British. It's not my fault. I just tried. Yep. So I think that's the pick. I don't think it can go any other way. If they do, then it feels like they're caving, rather than restocking for Burrow's future success.
Yeah, and I mean, T. Higgins can very easily be that wide receiver 1 that Chase can be. And if I'm Burrow, I want to be protected more probably than I want to have my buddy from LSU slide through.
Yeah, and I mean, look at it last year. You had down in the desert, you had Kyler trying to petition to get CeeDee Lamb to Arizona, and it didn't work. And it's these star guys. I haven't heard anything from Joe Burrow coming out saying I want him here, which happened last year with a couple guys. I think the silence says a lot.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, Jack, we appreciate the pick. Oh, man, Jamar Chase is still on the board. Zach Wilson is still on the board. The Miami Dolphins are up. Let's bring Steven back onto the stream. Do the Miami Dolphins have a pick ready?
Miami Dolphins do have a pick ready. Ideally, in this scenario, I think Dolphins would want to go Chase if he was there. I think in real life tomorrow night, if this is how the board falls, I could see them trading down again. I mean, there's been a lot of talks of them trying to get out of this pick as well. But I think where they're at, they have the perfect receiver on the board that would complement Tua, would give him a true number 1 receiver, really help that offense out. Dolphins are going to take Jamar Chase out of LSU.
Yeah, that is a very good move there. And I think that Tua really needs weapons in order for him to have success. I'm someone who's gone on record saying I think Tua is going to be a bust after year 1. We'll see if that happens. No thought about potentially adding Waddle or Devonta Smith, someone who Tua has played with and knows?
That's part of the trade down scenario. I'm thinking about it. Like from what I've been seeing, they maybe try to trade down into the 9 to 12 range basically give up Chase and then just take whichever of Smith or Waddle is still there. I was very, very tempted to take Smith with this pick, but I still think Chase is the right move.
Yeah, for sure. Interesting. Jamar Chase is off the board. Let's bring in the force coming in here with the Detroit Lions. Oh, my goodness. I cannot imagine in your wildest dreams you expected Zach Wilson to still be here, potentially the Aaron Rodgers of the draft, here to save this franchise. Is that where we're going, or what are we doing here at number 7?
You know what? I did not expect to be here. So again, I'm thinking about this right now. But to be honest, the Detroit Lions aren't going to fill the holes that they need to fill with one quarterback. The team's not built around him and ready for a rookie quarterback at this point. They've just gotten a veteran via trade that they've got under contract for a couple more years. So no, I don't think that's the way to go. I'm actually going to ask you to bring the fridge in here, and we're going to make a call about trading back to the Denver Broncos here, who are a quarterback-needy team and probably drooling over Zach Wilson to come up a couple of spots. What are you thinking, Fridge? The Denver Broncos trading up to the 109 here to take Zach Wilson?
I mean, I think they will, even though today they made the trade for Teddy Bridgewater. But to have them only have to move up 2 spots to get, the guy that everyone's thinking right now is going second overall, I think they will be willing to make a package here to move up 2 spots. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Let's do that. We'll take a 2-spot drop here for Detroit. They've got a lot of holes to fill. We'll pick up maybe an extra 3rd-round pick here and take it away, Fridge.
Yeah. No. Zach Wilson to Denver at number 7.
Fantastic. I think, I just don't see a world in which Denver does not move up in this scenario to then go out and take Zach Wilson. I still have Zach Wilson as my number 2 on my big board, so great pick there. Thank you, fellas. We have our first trade. That was super fun. Let's bring Jack back in for this Panthers pick now at 8. Very interested to see what the Panthers do here. They were unable to get a quarterback. They're still here with, they've got Sam Darnold. Jack, what did the Panthers do at 8?
Unable to get a quarterback. They've got Sam. They're fine. They're okay. They're set. They still haven't picked up his 5th-year option, but otherwise than that, they're set, right? It's difficult. I think that we won't go into it, obviously, but the Panthers were 110% in getting Deshaun Watson. That was their plan. That was their go-to plan for the offseason, their big splash. That's not worked out. And the big splash quarterbacks, even though Zach Wilson did drop, I think they're going to be bummed out that he dropped and they still couldn't jump up and get him. The big splash quarterbacks are gone at this point. You're not going to excite a fan base. Somehow Shanahan might have excited the 49ers fan base to getting Mac Jones in the real draft, but I just don't think you're going to sell Mac Jones to the Panthers fan base at this point. So there's a couple of options here. It's reinforcements. Although the Panthers spent a lot, if not most, of their draft picks on defense last year or the year before, maybe correct me on that. But they're stocking and getting better on defense. They're young. They've got some great pieces there. You could quite easily pick up Patrick Surtain and really lock up that cornerback position. But just look at the talent left on the board. They need someone just to make that offense go with Sam Darnold. Surround him with everything that you can possibly give him and see what happens. I'm going to say in the Battle of Alabama wide receivers, Devonta Smith is going to go to the Panthers.
Yeah, I think that's a really good pick. They let Curtis Samuel walk in free agency. Devonta Smith off the board at the 108. That brings the Lions back into play. Let's bring the force back. They moved down 2 spots, picked up an extra 3rd-round pick, and, they really didn't lose out on anything because they can still get a Jalen Waddle if they want. Is that what we're thinking, or where are we going with this pick?
We were looking at Devonta Smith for sure. That was what I was eyeing with dropping back the spot. I thought he might get through Carolina. But nonetheless, again, as I said before, it's wide open here for these guys. They need everything everywhere. And we've still got the one of the highest rated offensive tackles here sitting on the board. They need work on their offensive line. Guns Mahoney there in Detroit wants to run the ball and bite ankles and chew off knees and all that stuff. So I think they're going to take Rashawn Slater here at the 109 and shore up the offensive line, again, start building for a future QB acquisition and try to keep Jared Goff on his feet.
Yeah, that's a great pick. They have to have offensive line help. That only helps Swift and Jared Goff. And I liked what you said there, that, they need to build around their team in order then later on go and pick up a quarterback. I think that's the best way to build a franchise. And Forrest, we're going to be hanging out here for a little bit.
Indeed.
You not only have the 9, you got the 10, 11, and 12. So let's start with the Dallas Cowboys, them boys. Jalen Waddle on the board. I mean, I don't know. I keep saying Jalen Waddle, but do the boys need another weapon? Where are they going here?
No, we're going to see Jalen Waddle slip again, and as hard as it is for me personally, because he is actually even more than Chase, he's my favorite receiver in this draft, and maybe I look at him more from a fantasy perspective than anything, but he is my favorite receiver in this draft. But the Cowboys don't need it. They're loaded with pass catchers, young pass catchers, under contract. Everybody knows what their Achilles heel was last year outside of losing Dak Prescott and a good portion of their starting offensive line, and that was their defense. They had to score 40 points a game to even try to win, and I don't think they see that happening again. So they've got a new defensive coordinator. He's bringing in a new system, cover 3 defense. And I think they need to start to build that. They've really only got one viable cornerback under contract right now in last year's second-round pick, Trevin Diggs. So I think they're going to do what everybody sees them doing here and take Patrick Surtain II, the best cornerback in this draft, and maybe one of the best defensive players in this draft. So,
yeah, for sure. They absolutely need that. Hopefully we still can see Dak putting up those unreal numbers as well as Zeke and the other pass catchers, because that bad defense was definitely a positive for fantasy football players. But
yes, it was.
As a team, the Cowboys do need to get this. So what are we going to do here? Now we're moving on off of the Cowboys. The New York Giants are on the clock. What are we doing here?
Well, again, this is one where, unfortunately, I just don't see the Waddle pick happening. They just spent a big contract on Kenny Golladay to fill that number 1 role there, and this is another defense that really hasn't performed the way they want it to the last few years. Perpetual holes in areas of that defense. So, again, I think they're going to look to a side of the ball here that really hasn't been picked over very much so far in the draft, and take the best edge rusher out there in Kwity Paye, solidify their defensive line, and work from there for the rest of the draft.
Fantastic. Edge rusher off the board out of Michigan. They absolutely need that. Moving to the Eagles now, there's recent controversy that they are in a quarterback competition. Joe Flacco might get the starting job. Maybe they draft a Mac Jones. I don't know what they do here. Forrest, enlighten me. What do the Eagles do here at 12?
That is a joke, Flacco. The ownership of the Eagles wants to see what happens with Jalen Hurts here for at least another season. They want to give him the best opportunity to have success in doing that, and see if they can build the team around him, similar to another team in their division, the Cowboys, who took a late quarterback, built a good team around him, and turned him into a late quarterback with questions about accuracy and maybe a little bit of questions about arm strength, similar to Jalen Hurts. See if they can build a team around him and make him successful in a new program that's built to his strengths. So finally, we'll get our man off the board here, and Jalen Waddle going to the Philadelphia Eagles to solidify a really lacking wide receiver core, give him a true number 1 target, a big play guy who can stretch the field. When he's running outside the pocket, buying time, get downfield, get open, he creates a huge amount of natural separation, both through speed and great route running. I think he's the perfect target to try and get a young quarterback on his feet here.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's a good wide receiver. I think he possesses a lot of traits that you want in drafting somebody, but just after the last 2 drafts and what the Eagles have done with wide receivers, I now have my concerns if they do pick up Waddle. Any concerns fantasy-wise? I mean, what are you doing if Waddle ends up on the Eagles? Is this somebody that you're going to spend an early round dynasty rookie pick on?
I am. I believe in talent. I believe the Eagles will get it turned around. I think I'm willing to invest in him. Obviously not ahead of – I don't think I would invest in him ahead of Ja'Marr Chase, even though he is my favorite receiver in the league. I think there's more sureties there. I'd take him over Devontae Smith in a rookie draft personally.
Yeah, for sure. There he goes. Jalen Waddle off the board. The top 3 wide receivers are gone. Let's bring the fridge back on here. The Chargers are on the clock right now. What do they do here? I mean, I feel like they've got a ton of options. They can make that offense even better. They can. I was messing around with one of our co-hosts on the podcast, Pride. I was saying they should trade up to go get Mac Jones and just really solidify that quarterback room and make sure there's a competition for Justin Herbert. But what do the Chargers do here?
Yeah, no, I don't think they go quarterback, but I think they need to protect the quarterback. And their offensive line is hurting, especially at left tackle. So I think right now they will be taking Christian Darrisaw, left tackle out of Virginia Tech.
Yep, I think that is a fantastic pick, just the pick that they needed. The Chargers are off the clock, and that now brings us to the Minnesota Vikings on the clock. Let's bring Brian back in here. Long time since we've talked to Brian. What do the Vikings do here? I mean, this is a team that I feel is just a couple of pieces away from truly being a maybe conference contender, maybe Super Bowl contender. I expect this defense to be better this year. What are they doing at 14?
Yeah, with the top tackles off the board now, I think that's a no-brainer if one of those 3 offensive tackles are on the board. But in this scenario, I think they can still shore up their defensive line even more. Get that depth and really try to take that defense to the next level and to make them maybe potentially contenders in the NFC. And so I think a building block for that would be the big defensive tackle out of Alabama, Christian Barmore.
Yep, that's a great pick. And along with what I just had mentioned, I think that Mike Zimmer is going to have this defense in a better spot than it was last year. You add in this guy, I think this defense just continues to move in a positive direction, which inversely, when you talk about fantasy football, could be worse for the likes of Adam Thielen, Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook, Kirk Cousins, just because they don't have to score as much. But I think this is a fantastic pick, Brian. We'll be talking to you here just in another second. Let's now bring on the New England Patriots, and let's get the force back in here. The Patriots look like a lot of rumors are that they're going to move up. Maybe they end up moving up to 4 to grab a quarterback there. But I think that Mac Jones has been the guy they've been eyeing for the longest time. I mean, there's the meme of Bill Belichick being disappointed at the pro day. But what did the Patriots do here?
I think that is what the Patriots do. I mean, they've got Cam Newton under contract for 1 season, and it's not at a high amount of money. You can clearly see by what they offered him that they don't view him as a long-term solution. They haven't drafted a quarterback in 23 years, right? It's time. They've got a great defense to help support a young rookie quarterback and on that team and still keep them somewhat competitive. Mac Jones is thought of as the most pro-ready quarterback in this draft. He may not have the upside as others, but people probably said that about Tom Brady when he was drafted in the 6th round. So I'm going to trust Bill Belichick in that scheme to build something around Mac Jones that'll work, and they're going to take him here and fill their quarterback position hopefully for the next several years.
Yeah, I think that's a great pick, and I think that Mac Jones would have more success on the Patriots. I think Bill Belichick will have more success building around Mac Jones than he will a Trey Lance, Justin Fields, those type of quarterbacks. So Mac Jones finally off the board. We've seen our big-name quarterbacks go off the board. Let's bring Brian back in for the Arizona Cardinals pick here at number 16.
Yeah, so they can go a number of ways here. Just looking at my notes here, just to see what we're going to do. So it's interesting. They need another corner. I think they can shore up actually probably all 3 levels of the defense here. Corner, perhaps they can go linebacker here, or they can take another wide receiver. But with the top 3 guys off the board, I don't think there's value there. So let's go ahead and go with Where to go with? I think could be 1A, 1B in terms of top cornerback in this draft with Patrick Surtain. So we're going to go J.C. Horn, cornerback out of South Carolina.
Very good pick, and I think this is a team where if Kyle Pitts falls, like really takes a tumble, I really think the Cardinals could be in line to pick him up. I think that would take this offense to the next level. Any interest or any thought in going running back here?
Yeah, there's definitely probably a consideration with Najee Harris. They probably would trade down, get more value if they could. Maybe a little bit high to pick a running back. Although Najee Harris can be an instant fantasy contributor in pretty much any format. But no, I think they'll go defense in this scenario. But you're right. If Pitts maybe gets towards the edge of the bottom half of the top 10, perhaps maybe they look to make a move there, blockbuster move, because man, imagine Kyle Pitts in that offense. That would be just an absolute game changer, I think, in fantasy.
Yeah, the rest of the NFC West should be scared if that happens. Oh man, the Cardinals are off the clock. That now brings us to the Raiders on the clock. Here at pick number 17, where do the Raiders go?
Yeah, they can go in a number of ways here. There's still a couple good guys at different levels of the defense. But they are in the division with Patrick Mahomes and Justin Herbert and whoever Denver decides to start at quarterback. So I think they need to go at the cornerback position. And with J.C. Horn just going before, I think that leaves Caleb Farley out of Virginia Tech available for them. So,
yeah, no, good pick there. They have to be a team in which they lock down on defense. I think this is a team that's not going to be able to win in a shootout. And when you're going against two top quarterbacks in division and potentially another up and coming with the Broncos, you have to lock down that corner position. And I think they've got the weapons on offense to make a move. They don't have to go there. So I really do like that pick. The Raiders are now off of the board. Here we are coming in now with the 18th pick. The Miami Dolphins are back on the clock. This is their second pick in the first round. Steven, where are the Dolphins going?
See, this is where things are going to get interesting. There's been a lot of kind of narratives going around that the Dolphins could be looking at Najee Harris. Tua and Harris were roommates in college. They were best friends. I mean, not only that, he's by far the best running back in this draft. The Dolphins have a big need for a true three-down back. I mean, who's going to turn down Derrick Henry light? So, I mean, that is definitely a possibility. I don't think the Dolphins are going to go that way just because of the depth in this class, and I just don't think they're willing to spend a first-round pick on a running back. So I think it's going to be more of a defensive pick here. And I think one player that really fits the mold for them is Zaven Collins out of Tulsa. He's very scheme versatile. He can play all over the field. He's a three-down linebacker. He can rush the passer. He can drop back in coverage. He's exactly what Flores looks for in a linebacker, and I think he would make a great addition to that team.
Yeah, and if they can just continue to build on that stellar defense, I mean, this is going to be a team that just absolutely contends year in and year out for that division crown. Really do like that pick. Moving on now, the Washington football team is on the clock. Oh, man, the Washington football team. If they take a running back here, I would be so mad. Force,
that's
don't
not
do it to me.
They already have the best running back in the NFL.
Good.
All right. No, they're actually running to the stage right now to hand in the card for Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, linebacker out of Notre Dame. Washington built a highly unexpected playoff season on the back of one of the best defenses in the NFL last year, despite some serious offensive passing game deficiencies. And so, they did their best to address those through free agency this offseason. They've got Fitzpatrick in for a year at least. And he's a viable quarterback at much more than they had last year. Curtis Samuel and Adam Humphries brought in at wide receiver to add targets to Terry McLaurin. They've got Antonio Gibson already and J.D. McKissick to whatever little he'll be involved this year, although I think that does fall off quite a bit from what it was last year. I think they add a somewhat undersized but exceptional pass coverage linebacker here who can play multiple roles on the defense, move to safety in certain situations, rush the quarterback from the linebacker spot, and really just add another piece to make that defense maybe the best in the league.
Yeah, and if that defense continues to improve and they build and hit with their picks in this draft, that defense is going to be so scary. And an offense with some questionable quarterback play. So after the Washington football team, we've got the Chicago Bears on the clock. That is also you, Forrest. This is your final pick. We appreciate your time here tonight. Where do the Bears go?
Well, I appreciate you guys having me on. I appreciate everyone that's hopped in to listen. Thanks a lot, and hope you enjoyed. So Chicago Bears are going to take Tevin Jenkins, offensive tackle out of Oklahoma State, build up that offensive line a bit more, and basically try to put the pieces around, because they're not getting a top end quarterback here in this one, and I think that's where they're going.
Yeah, no, that's a very solid pick for the Chicago Bears, and them just continuing to build that offensive line. We've talked about it already on the show. Gives them an opportunity to go in and select a better quarterback, maybe find one in free agency later. I really like that pick. Offensive line is always a fun pick for me to see. So moving off of the Chicago Bears, we are now at pick 21 with the Indianapolis Colts. Let's get Steven back here on the stream. Steven, we've got you for the next couple picks with the Colts and the Titans. What are we going to be doing here with the Colts?
So I think the Colts here, whether it's offensive, defensive, they're going to be sticking with a line. Like, they're going to be getting someone on the line. They really need to fortify the trenches, and especially with Carson Wentz coming in, they are going to want to make sure he is protected at all costs. And so with that, the Colts are going to select Samuel Cosby out of Texas, try to get a tackle. They don't like the coaching staff is really good with developing offensive line talent. I think he's got probably one of the higher ceilings out of anyone in this class, and I think if anybody can get it out of him, it will be the Colts.
Yeah, for sure. They just lost some key pieces to their line, so them continuing to develop and have protection there is very important. I like that pick. Tennessee on the clock at number 22. They lost Corey Davis this offseason. Any interest in Rashad Bateman here? Is this where we're going to see him go to, or what are we doing here with the Titans?
You're on the right track, but I'm not going to go with Bateman. No, they definitely need someone else on that offense with Corey Davis gone. They've got A.J. Brown, who's a great number one receiver. They've got Henry, one of the best running backs in the league. They just need someone else to add another dimension to that offense. And I think they're going to go with Elijah Moore out of Ole Miss.
Yep, very good pick there for the Tennessee Titans. They have to have another weapon. I'd be shocked if they go into this offseason with just Antonio Brown and then random scrubs after that. Let's bring Jack back in here as we move along in this draft. We are back to the New York Jets, picking at number 23. Jack, what are we doing here? This is the pick that they acquired from Seattle.
I mean, I was trying to message people then to get trades in case people were going to pick this guy, but if the Jets do not sprint the card out with Micah Parsons written on it, then something's gone wrong here. 100% that's the Jets pick. That they cannot believe that guy's fallen to them.
Yeah, I cannot believe. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to influence it, but I cannot believe that he made it this far. This is exactly what this team needs. I think Robert Salah is going to be very happy with that. Jack, we've got you here as well with the Pittsburgh Steelers pick. What are you thinking here? This is your team. This pick matters probably more than the other ones you're making here tonight. So what do the Steelers do?
See, here's the quandary for me. Because what you want the Steelers to do and the whole popular fan thing is that they need a running back, right? And they need someone to step in and be that guy at running back. Here's the thing. They never have that superstar at running back outside of Bell. Like he was fantastic, and then whatever's happened to him has happened to him. But most of the time there is just a guy there. You had Rashad Mendenhall, you had Willie Parker, you had these guys that were good in spurts that didn't deliver past that year or a couple of years, and they've got some guys in place. You've got Benny Snell there. You've got Kalen Balazs there, who actually played fairly well for the Chargers, I think, and showed that he could do something in a decent scheme. I think they'll pick a vet up. Whether there's been buzz around AP going there, and there's other running backs that are serviceable that are floating around still that will do the job. I just don't think it's a priority. And I think reaching for someone like Etienne or even either of the NC State guys, like, I think it's too much at this point. What's happened on the line is disappointing and needs to be fixed. That's the biggest thing. Villanueva going and possibly going to the Ravens is a massive bummer for everybody. He underperformed last year. The line needs to be on point to protect Ben Roethlisberger, because if they're not, then the Steelers have no shot. Because the guy, he can't move anymore, and that's fine. He's at that stage where he is going to deliver fast to his young wide receiver core, and that's cool. So it's really a toss-up here between Elijah Vera-Tucker or Walker Little. I'm just going to take the guy from USC. I'm going to take Vera-Tucker. The buzz around him is a little bit more than I'm hearing about Walker Little. I'm not exactly an offensive line guru over here. Someone that can delve into the trenches can probably tell me a little bit more on there. But that seems like a solid pick and addresses a position of massive need for the Steelers, despite being a bit boring for the Steelers fans.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have to pick up some sort of offensive line, help that offensive line, and you're going to be able to then have good running back play, which they just seemed to struggle with last year. Let's bring Steven back in here. The Jaguars with their second pick. This one's coming from LA at pick 25. What did the Jags do here?
So the Jags, they take Trevor Lawrence with the first pick, and I kind of, as I mentioned before with the Colts, they need to make sure he is protected at all costs. You don't spend the number one pick unless you're Cincinnati, of course, and not make sure that asset is protected. So with that, I'm going to go a little bit out of the box here. I'm still going to go offensive line, but I'm going to go with Dylan Raduns from North Dakota State.
That is a solid pick. I feel as though that's a sneaky guy who isn't, super flashy and not everybody knows his name, but I think he could actually be really solid for this team. I actually really like that pick. I was not expecting it, but I am a fan of it. Let's bring Jack back in here for his final pick of the night, the Cleveland Browns at 26. What do they do here? They got to get something good. They were so close last year. Who are they picking at 26?
This is one of those scenarios that the Browns seem to find themselves in more often than not, where they can take the best player available. I've spent a bit of time there looking through the Browns roster, and it's really quite difficult to identify any holes, like glaring holes. They've addressed the safety position with Johnson, and they've got Delpit coming in, and I believe they got Harrison from the Jags last year, right? And he's back and healthy. And they've Greedy Williams is back as well at DB. They're kind of set there. So it's tough to just find the best player available. I think you're reaching if you take the Northwestern cornerback at this point. They just signed Jadeveon Clowney, so they obviously need someone to come in for him when he gets injured in week 3 and do something. And in that case, it's probably going to be someone that needs to be a bit more dynamic. So I'm gonna go back to my Penn State picks here, and I'm taking Jason Owe. He's the edge rusher out of Penn State that isn't Micah Parsons. And I think it just adds some athleticism and some dynamism to that line. And Clowney is what he is, right? It's big and it's hyped, and you got Garrett and Clowney on either side. Yeah, man. And he's going to be there for a certain amount of games, and then he'll miss a bunch of games, and then he'll have one amazing game, and then he'll get another contract somewhere else. It's not the worst way to do a career if you're going to do it. Like, you play 3 games a year and get paid like a superstar. That's fine, but they need some edge rushing presence opposite Garrett. And hey, if Ben goes out and Mason Rudolph starts again, then who knows how long Garrett will be on the field this year anyway. So maybe they need some more. Maybe they need some more reinforcements.
True that. Oh man, the Browns. Let's stay in the division. Let's go to the Ravens now. Here, sitting at 27. The hotness with this pick, if you even remotely are on Twitter, Rashad Bateman to the Ravens is just everywhere I go. Brian, is that what happens here?
Man, you would think that, right? But you know what? I don't think they go this direction as the board falls its weight. In fact, if the board falls the way it has, I think they're sprinting their card up to draft Georgia edge Azeez Ojulari. I think he wasn't picked yet, right? Okay, good.
Nope, you're good.
I've been paying attention because if that's the case, the biggest need for the Ravens right now is edge. Is someone who can in a 3-4 can play outside, can rush the passer. They lost their top 2 rushers in free agency with Matt Judon going to the Patriots and Yannick Ngakoue going to the Raiders, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. So they don't have a whole lot of experience. They don't have a whole lot of production there, and they can go other directions. They have an aging defensive line. It's kind of a sneaky need. They can go wide receiver. I don't think it's as big of a need as others, and I think the way this set up here, there's not really that surefire guy at this spot, and Ojulari just fills a bigger need. So I think they go that direction.
Yeah, and I mean, to be competitive in that division, they're going to have to continue to rush the quarterback, be able to hit the quarterback, have that strong defense that I feel the Ravens have been known for quite a while. I like that pick, and they've got another one coming up here very quickly, so maybe Bateman is still there or another wide receiver is still there. But nonetheless, the New Orleans Saints are on the clock now. Let's bring Steven in for his final pick of the night. Steven, we appreciate your time here tonight. Rumors as of late is that the Saints absolutely have to get a cornerback in the first round. Is that what they do here, or do they go in a different direction?
No, like I'm thinking the same thing there. I mean, 6 times a year they have to face the likes of DJ Moore, Julio for now, Calvin Ridley, Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin. I mean, they need help in the secondary, and they need it yesterday. Like if they want to compete not only in this division but in this conference, they need some help. I think here they're going to go with cornerback out of Syracuse, Efito Melifonwu.
That is a very good pick. Let me get it on the board here real quick. All right, there we go. And correct me if I'm wrong, but they do have some sort of an issue right now with Marshawn Lattimore, at least with the law. So who knows if Marshawn Lattimore is even going to be there for this season. So, yeah, they absolutely have to get a corner. I think that's a great corner selection. Let's now move off of the New Orleans Saints here. The Green Bay Packers are on the clock. Let's get Brian back on the broadcast for what are the Packers doing here. They need a playmaker. They just somehow continue to not pick up a wide receiver for this team. Do they finally do it here at the end of the first round?
They need to really help out Aaron Rodgers, right? At some point, they gotta throw him a bone high in the draft here, right? And I think this might be the draft that they do that. I think that a guy like there's a few guys that could be intriguing who still left on the board, but I think the best route runner left on the board here, guy with sure hands. Not quite as big, not quite as tall as I think people thought, but he actually this might be kind of a similar type of skill set as Devontae Adams, but I think doubling up on that type of wide receiver would not be the worst thing in the world. So I'm going to go with Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, Minnesota here.
Yep, I think that's a very good pick. And they have to add weapons to this team. They just absolutely have to. They're not going to get it done without them. Let's go ahead. Let's bring the Fridge back in for his final pick. Talking about the Buffalo Bills. Fridge, what are they going to do here at the back of the first round in order to put themselves over the hump?
Yeah, no, Buffalo's sitting here with many options. They kind of can go best player available. They don't have many needs, desperate needs. But the one that kind of stands out is an edge rusher. So the best edge rusher left on the board is Jalen Phillips out of Miami, Florida. He comes with a high ceiling, but also, with concussion problems in the past. He actually retired, I think, in 2018. But if they can get his high ceiling, look out.
Yeah, for sure. Fridge, we appreciate your time tonight. Thank you for that Buffalo Bills pick, and let's bring Brian on for the final two picks. We've got him back here. We're going to have him for the Ravens and for the Buccaneers. What do the Ravens do here at 31? They lost out on Bateman. Are they going to continue to stack up on that defense, or are we going maybe Walker Little here, or what are we doing?
So Ravens have always been known traditionally for their defense. So it's only been recently that they've had this high-ranking offense with Lamar Jackson. But I still think that completing that defense and having that be one of the top defenses in the league is still something that the organization cares about tremendously. Great defensive coordinator, Wink Martindale, very creative in his schemes, and needs another guy to kind of be creative. We haven't really had a dime package in the last couple of years because we really haven't had that ball hawking safety. We have two starting safeties, both of them coming back from last year. But Sean Elliott is a free agent after this year, so I think it's a sneaky need and the best safety on the board, best safety in this draft by far, who can come in right away and hopefully create turnovers, really change the tide of games, just a difference maker on the defense is safety Tavon Morig, I think it's how, I don't know exactly if I'm getting that right. Safety from TCU.
Yeah, I like that pick. I think they need to add it. Now they've really shored up that defense here with two very good playmakers. Now we're moving to the final pick of the draft, and if you guys have stuck it out with us here so far, maybe you're watching this back, we appreciate you stopping by. This is something we really look forward to doing, and we were glad that we were able to put it on. Brian, close us out here. What do the defending Super Bowl champions need with their final pick in the first round?
They have all 22 starters coming back from the season. They just re-signed Antonio Brown to a one-year deal, and so they don't necessarily need a starter, right? This is a team that has a lot of talent. They got Tom Brady for the short foreseeable future. So where do they go here? Where they can go depth, where they're a little bit thin. I think they're a bit thin at linebacker behind Shaq Barrett. And why am I forgetting his name? Other starting linebacker. I think they go. Outside linebacker here. Joe Tryon, linebacker for Washington.
Joe Tryon, linebacker for Washington.
Not highly rated according to PFF, clearly.
Clearly not. What was his first name again? I literally just said it, but I can't remember.
Joe Tryon.
Wow. They have him as 75. That is crazy.
I do not work for PFF, so I do not I don't certify any of their ratings.
Yeah, no. Well, hey, that concludes this draft. We really appreciate everyone stopping by. And I'm going to roll through here. As you can see on screen, we're getting these draft grades. We've got A-pluses here at the top. Great job, guys. I think this Kyle Pitts is an A-plus here. Get that A out of here. We got a B- here with Jamar Chase to the Dolphins. Another A-plus, Zach Wilson. And then, oh, golly, a D for the Detroit Lions. I disagree with PFF on that one. Looks like we did a pretty good job. I would say these are some very good picks. If this is the way the board fell, I think a lot of interesting things can be taken away from this. No first round running back. Like, if you're a James Robinson owner, you're thrilled about that. If you are a Myles Gaskin owner, you're thrilled about that. Kalen Ballage and company up there in Pittsburgh, you're thrilled about that. Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, you're thrilled about that. But this was our 2021 NFL mock draft. We highly appreciate everyone stopping by. If you haven't already, leave a like rating on this video. We really do appreciate it, and we cannot wait to pump out some fantasy football content for you as the draft is going on and right after it. If you want to get better in Dynasty and Redraft and you want to win fantasy football championships, make sure you hit that subscribe button right now. For everyone that joined me today, I'm Q. We'll see you guys next time.